didn't know anything about it. Said he knew more than I did. But you know, I'll let you know if I find anything more out. I'm sure he still knows more than I do. 31-year-old guy who going against it's an apartheid thing, order, and you know, something could be minor, but yet it turned into a violent thing where 2 officers were shot. I think that's the kind of violence we continue to see. And of course, again, it's going to bring up these arguments, if you will, about gun control. You know, it's like today we look at reality that there are some things that reasonable people can discuss and have differences of opinions on. Recently, Cardinal Shabu talked about tolerance, you know, and then that's the magic word today. You got to be tolerant of everything unless it's something that goes against what someone else wants. But he talked about tolerance, and he said sometimes tolerance can be a sin, if you will. Sometimes you're called to be intolerant. So we'll look at a couple possibilities today. In terms of like gun control, it's like, can there be differences of opinion? Certainly. A person has a right to defend their home. On the other hand, does anybody need a rocket launcher? Or, you know, so you might look and say, well, you know, some things are beyond our need. I mean, we're trying to say that some countries have no right to have a nuclear power, and that's probably a good thing to stand against. Some should not have. So there is room to say what is good for our society in general. The other thing that's going on today that is drawing so much attention, if you work on the border and you're working with the immigrants, of course your heart goes always out to those you work with, and you say, oh, you know, everyone's coming into this country because of violence, because they are, you know, being exiled. It's like, come on. I know better than that. I know a number of them in this country who are here for one reason, to make more money. They're not fleeing violence. One of the doctor's daughter, I think I mentioned last week, I know she's here for one thing, you know, and I don't blame them. You know, but the reality is, does a country have a right to regulate its border? Of course it does. Do we as Christians have an obligation to try to take care of people who are in need? Yes, we do. So there's a conflict there, and certainly people of goodwill should be able to get down and discuss it. But it makes you wonder what's goodwill. Somebody shared a video with me this week of a president of the United States saying, I will do more and more and more to block that border, and I'm using my presidential power to do it. Wow, if I didn't know the voice, I would have thought it was President Trump, President Clinton. Actual video. I said, well, it's not Saturday Night Live. This is him himself. And it was followed by another video, and I will do such and such and such to block the borders, and that's President Obama. And it's like, whoa. In other words, is it possible these people are being used as political pawns? Yes. But still, people of goodwill should be able to get together and say, again, what is good for a country and for others in general to meet needs. So those areas say, yes, there's room for discussion. Then there are other areas where toleration is really a sin. Such would be, say, sex trafficking. We see Epstein and what just going on with that. Such would be anyone tolerating pornography in their home. That is a form of adultery. That is a form of being unfaithful to one's spouse, because it leads to where Epstein got into. So we say that is not tolerance, or if it is, it's a sin to put up with that kind of thing. We look at today, saying, well, you got to be tolerant because I was born this way in terms of sexual orientation. It's like, hey, it doesn't matter whether you're homosexual or heterosexual. No one has a right morally to be sexually involved unless it's within marriage. That's a basic law. So we see these areas in life, and we say, how do we handle them? We see the other area like Bishop Paprocki in Springfield, Illinois. Just recently said, no politician in his diocese may receive communion if they are pro-abortion. That is right. You cannot be a Catholic if you are pro-abortion. That's not a possibility. It is against the teachings of the church. And so we say, toleration? No. There's no room for saying there's the possibility of abortion under any form, anytime, anywhere in the world, for any circumstance. See? So those things says there's no room for that kind of discussion. And yet, people want to use the word tolerance as a way of somehow saying, live and let live. You let me do what I want to do, and maybe I'll leave you alone to do what you want to do. But it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. So today we're challenged as we look at each one of these scriptures today. We hear the prophet. The prophet's thrown in prison. Why? You look at the vacillating politician. Sounds familiar almost to today. You got a politician who says, okay, throw him in prison. The other one says, well, no, bring him back out. So he goes back and forth. Who am I going to please today? Kind of thing. Actually, it would probably be better if he'd stayed in the mud holes because they're getting ready to be invaded by the Babylonians. And if that's where he is, he's probably pretty safe there. But in any case, we don't know how those things work out. You look at the gospel. Jesus says, I came to bring division. And division will happen. Not because he wants it, but it will happen. We look at the Americans in the Civil War time. Is slavery a good thing or a bad thing? Guess what? It's always a bad thing. And some chose that side, but others were saying, no, it's justifiable under certain circumstances. And so we found brothers fighting brothers. We pray we don't ever have to reach that point, and certainly in our own families. But Jesus says that is a reality. The bottom line is, actually in the second reading, where the author of Hebrews says, you have not yet suffered to the point of shedding blood for the sake of the gospel. You have not yet reached that point where you are experiencing persecution or being shot for standing up for what is right. And as Christians, as followers of Christ, we are all called by our baptism to be prophets, which we speak the truth. We are all called by our baptism to realize some things cannot change. And so we speak in love to others about abortion. We speak in love to others about, if you will, being engaged sexually outside of marriage. We speak in love to others in dialogue about things like gun control or the immigrant situation. But you and I as Christians are part of the process. Some areas, tolerance is a sin. In some areas, it's a necessity. Today we pray for the wisdom to be tolerant when we are called to, but to be intolerant in love when we have to, for the sake of the gospel.